Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. You know, today we're going to take a trip back to the 90s,
Oh, yeah.
back when Italian football was arguably the best in the world.
Absolutely.
And we're focusing on one club that rose from relative obscurity to challenge the giants of the game, Parma Calcio.
It's a great story.
You guys sent in some excerpts from a great article, The Insatiable Rise of Parma in the 1990s. We're going to look at that today
Yeah.
and, figure out how this seemingly ordinary club became a European powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened? Why did it all come crashing down?
Yeah, it's a story that goes beyond just wins and losses.
Right.
Parma's rise is really intertwined with the culture of the city itself
Interesting.
and with Italian economics and the broader, picture.
Okay, so let's start with Parma before the 90s.
Okay.
You mentioned culture.
Mm.
What was it about this place that made their football club unique?
Well, Parma is in a region of Italy known for its fierce local pride,
Okay.
what they call campanalismo.
Campanile.
Yeah, it's a place that celebrates its achievements, whether it's their famous opera house or their world-renowned Parmigiano Reggiano cheese.
They have the cheese.
Yeah, they're proud of their...
They do food well there for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you're saying that even before the 90s, Parma had this winning spirit, this desire to be the best, even if it wasn't always reflected in their football team's results.
Exactly. They founded back in 1913, but for most of their history, Parma Calcio was bouncing between Serie B and Serie D,
Right.
the second and fourth divisions of Italian football.
Okay.
No major trophies to speak of. But things started to change in the mid-'80s.
Okay.
When a young coach named Arrigo Sacchi took charge.
Wait, Sacchi, isn't he the guy who later became famous for coaching AC Milan and basically revolutionizing Italian tactics?
That's the one.
Wow.
He didn't achieve promotion to Serie A with Parma,
Okay.
but he laid some important groundwork. But the real game changer came in 1985,
Okay.
a sponsorship deal with a company called Parmalat.
Okay, so this is where the big money enters the picture. Parmalat, the Jerry Giant. Right?
Yep, a local company with global ambitions.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw Parma Calcio as a way to raise their profile. This was the beginning of their transformation.
So Parmalat starts pouring money into the club, but they still needed someone to mold this team into a winning machine.
Right.
The article mentions a coach named Nevio Scala.
Yeah.
Tell us about him.
Scala was their coach from 1989 to 1996.
Okay.
And he was a tactical genius.
Okay.
He might not have had the same flashy reputation as someone like Sacchi,
Right.
but he built the foundation for all the success that followed. And get this.
Yeah.
He got them promoted to Serie A in his very first season.
Wow.
That ended 77 years outside the top flight.
Yeah.
Talk about a dream start.
Wow. 77 years. The fans must have gone absolutely crazy.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lifetime for some.
It is.
And this was all happening around the same time Parmalat took full control of the club, right?
Yes, Callisto Tanzi,
Okay.
the CEO of Parmalat, was now calling the shots. He had big ambitions, and the money kept flowing. It was a perfect storm.
So tell me about Scala's tactics. What was his secret sauce? How did he take this team from the lower divisions to competing with the best in Serie A?
He was a master of adaptability. At the time, most Italian teams,
Okay.
especially those influenced by Sacchi, were playing a very rigid 4-4-2 formation.
Okay.
But Scala opted for a more fluid system,
Interesting.
switching between 5-3-2 and 3-5-2.
Okay, but what difference did that actually make on the pitch?
It allowed him to use dynamic wingbacks who could attack and defend equally well.
Right.
And because the system was so flexible,
Yeah.
Parma could quickly transition from defense to attack,
Hitting.
hitting opponents on the counter with devastating speed.
Wow.
This approach, combined with a strong work ethic and a real sense of unity, made them incredibly tough to beat.
And the results speak for themselves. The article mentions Parma's first major trophy, the Coppa Italia in 1992. That must have been a huge moment for the club.
Absolutely. Winning the Coppa Italia was a sign that Parma had truly arrived.
Right.
They defeated Juventus in the final,
Whoa.
which even back then was a massive statement.
Right.
Remember, Juventus is considered royalty in Italian football.
Beating Juventus must have felt like conquering Mount Everest. It's clear Parma wasn't content with just domestic success, though, right? They went on to conquer Europe, too.
You bet. In 1993, they lifted the Cup Winners' Cup,
Okay.
defeating Atletico Madrid in the final. This was their first taste of European glory,
Wow.
and they weren't done yet.
Hold on a second. For those who might not be familiar with the Cup Winners' Cup, can you explain what that was?
Sure. It was a European competition for the winners of domestic cup competitions in each country.
Gotcha.
So Parma qualified because they had won the Coppa Italia.
Right, right.
It was a prestigious tournament, and winning it showed that Parma could compete with the best teams in Europe.
So they were challenging the giants of Italian football and making waves on the European stage. But their rivalry with Juventus, that seems to be a recurring theme.
It is. In 1995, Parma faced Juventus again, this time in the final of the UEFA Cup.
Okay.
Which is essentially the second-tier European competition after the Champions League.
Right.
And guess what? They defeated Juventus once again.
Wow, twice in major European finals. Parma was clearly a force to be reckoned with. But it wasn't just about trophies and glory, was it? This success had a ripple effect on Parmalat as well.
Absolutely. Parma's victories were broadcast all over the world.
Right.
Suddenly, their iconic yellow and blue jersey with the Parmalat logo prominently displayed became a symbol of success. It was a marketing coup for Tanzi and Parmalat.
Wow.
Their brand recognition skyrocketed, especially internationally.
So we've got this incredible blend of tactical brilliance from Scala, financial backing from Parmalat, and a team playing exciting, winning football.
Yeah.
Seemed like Parma had it all.
They did.
But as we know, the story doesn't end there.
Right.
There's a shift in ambition, a change in leadership, and a new era about to unfold. But before we delve into that, let's take a moment to let that sink in.
It's fascinating to see how everything aligned perfectly for Parma during this period.
Yeah.
But as we'll see, maintaining this level of success, especially with ambitions growing even bigger, is a whole different ballgame.
I bet. It's a whole other story.
Yeah.
All right, so we've seen how Parma went from being a small-town club to a European champion.
Yeah.
It's a classic underdog story. As you hinted, there's a darker side to this tale, right?
Yeah.
A shift in ambition that ultimately leads to their downfall.
It's like a Greek tragedy, almost.
Really?
Parma had reached these incredible heights.
Yeah.
But the hunger for more, the desire to win the Scudetto, the ultimate prize in Italian football, that's where things started to unravel.
And this coincided with a change at the top right. Callisto Tanzi handed over the reins to his son Stefano.
Right.
Did that change the club's direction?
Stefano Tanzi was much more hands-on than his father.
Okay.
He was impatient. He craved immediate success, and he wasn't afraid to spend big to achieve it.
Some might say that sounds like a recipe for disaster. Was Stefano's ambition ultimately detrimental to the club?
It's hard to say for sure.
Okay.
On the one hand, his ambition brought in some of the biggest names in world football.
Like who?
Carlo Ancelotti.
Oh, wow.
Who would later go on to manage Real Madrid, and Bayern Munich was appointed as the new coach.
Wow.
And under his leadership,
Okay.
Parma signed players like Lilian Thuram, Hernan Crespo,
Wow.
and a young Gianluigi Buffon.
Wow, Buffon. He went on to become a legend for Juventus and the Italian national team?
He did.
To think that he started his career at Parma. So they had the coach.
Yep.
They had the star players. Did they finally win that elusive Scudetto?
They came tantalizingly close. In the 1996-97 season, it was a nail-biting race against Juventus.
Right.
But in the end, they fell just short by 2 points.
2 points. That must have been heartbreaking for Parma fans. Can you imagine coming so close only to have your dream snatched away at the last moment?
It was a crushing blow.
Oh, man.
And it led to some tension between Ancelotti and Stefano Tanzi.
Okay.
Ancelotti wanted to build a team for the long haul, but Tanzi was fixated on instant success.
I see.
They clashed over transfer targets,
Okay.
specifically over Roberto Baggio,
Okay.
a legendary Italian player who was nearing the end of his career.
So Tanzi wanted the big-name signing even if it wasn't the best fit for the team.
Exactly. Ancelotti saw Baggio as a potential disruption to the team's balance and resisted the signing. Ultimately, the disagreements led to Ancelotti's departure.
That's crazy to think that a coach like Ancelotti would be pushed out over a transfer disagreement. It speaks volumes about Tanzi's desire for immediate success. Who replaced Ancelotti?
Alberto Malesani took over in 1998.
Okay.
He was a flamboyant character known for his attacking style of football.
Okay.
And under Malesani, Parma achieved something truly special.
They finally won the Scudetto.
Not quite. But in the 1998-99 season, they pulled off a remarkable double, winning both the Coppa Italia and the UEFA Cup.
That's still an incredible achievement. Talk about going out with a bang. And that UEFA Cup final against Marseille, the French giants, I read that it was a tactical masterclass from Malesani.
It was a dominant performance.
Wow.
Parma won 3-0 with goals from Crespo Vanoli and Chiesa.
Wow.
It was the perfect culmination of their journey under Malesani, a display of attacking brilliance and tactical discipline.
So Parma had reached the pinnacle of European football.
Yeah.
They'd won everything except the Serie A title.
Right.
It seemed like the future was bright.
Yeah, it did.
But we know that's not how the story ends.
Unfortunately not.
There's this dark cloud hanging over everything and the financial turmoil that would eventually bring the club to its knees.
Right. While Parma was celebrating on the pitch,
Yeah.
behind the scenes a financial storm was brewing.
Oh.
Parmalat, the company that had bankrolled their success, was in deep trouble.
This was the Parmalat scandal, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest financial scandals in European history.
It was a massive fraud.
Wow.
A house of cards built on billions of dollars of hidden debt.
Crazy.
And when it all came crashing down in 2003, the consequences for Parma Calcio were devastating.
It's hard to believe that a company like Parmalat, a household name, could collapse so spectacularly.
Huh.
What were the warning signs? How did this go unnoticed for so long?
It's a complex story involving years of creative accounting,
Right.
risky investments, and a culture of secrecy.
Mm-hmm.
But the cracks eventually started to show, and when they did, the whole edifice crumbled.
And Parma, the club that had become synonymous with Parmalat's success, was caught in the crossfire.
Yeah.
It must have felt like a betrayal for the players, the staff, the fans.
Mm.
They were living the dream only to have it ripped away from them.
It was a traumatic experience for everyone involved.
Oh, man.
The club was forced to sell its star players, Buffon, Thuram, Crespo, Cannavaro, just to stay afloat. They were relegated to Serie D, the bottom tier of Italian football, and entered administration.
Wow. From European champions to the 4th division in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
It's a stark reminder that success in football, like in life, can be fleeting.
It is, and it raises some important questions about the sustainability of the modern game.
Oh, yeah.
The pursuit of success at all costs, the reliance on external funding, the lack of financial transparency.
Yeah.
These are all issues that continue to plague football today.
So what happened next? How did Parma cope with this dramatic fall from grace? Were they able to rebuild?
That's a story for another time.
Oh, okay.
But let's just say it was a long and difficult road back.
Right.
The fans never gave up hope, though.
That's good.
They stood by their club through thick and thin,
Yeah.
and eventually they were rewarded.
That's the power of community, the unwavering support of the fans, even in the face of adversity. It's inspiring to see that even after such a devastating collapse, Parma was able to rise again.
It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. But before we delve into Parma's eventual comeback,
Okay.
let's pause here for a moment.
Okay.
The story we've heard so far, it's a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition,
Right.
the importance of financial responsibility, and the fragility of success.
It's a roller coaster ride of emotions.
It is.
From the euphoria of winning trophies to the despair of financial ruin.
Yeah.
Parma's story is a reminder that even in the glamorous world of football, things aren't always what they seem.
That's very true.
You know, we've been talking about Parma's incredible rise and fall.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get caught up in the big picture, the trophies, the finances.
It is.
But I keep thinking about the individuals
Yeah.
who lived through this story.
Yeah.
The players, the coaches, the fans.
Right.
Their experiences must have been something else.
It's true. Behind the headlines and the match results, there are human stories of triumph and despair, loyalty and betrayal.
Yeah.
That's what makes Parma's journey so compelling.
Let's start with Nevio Scala, the coach who built the foundation for Parma's success. He came across as a quiet genius,
He did.
someone who preferred actions to words.
Scala was a master tactician,
Right.
but he was also a great motivator. He understood the importance of teamwork and discipline. He created a culture where everyone fought for each other,
Yeah.
and that's what made them so successful.
And let's not forget the players who brought Scala's vision to life. Guys like Lorenzo Menotti,
Yeah.
Luigi Abalone,
Right.
the wingbacks Antonio Benarivo and Alberto Di Chiara.
Mm-hmm.
They were the heart and soul of that early 90s Parma team.
These weren't global superstars when they arrived at Parma,
Right.
but they were hungry, they were talented, and they fit perfectly into Scala's system. They played with a passion and a grit that the fans absolutely loved.
And then came the arrival of players like Faustino Esprilla, Gianfranco Zola, and Thomas Brolin.
Oh, yeah.
That must have added a whole new dimension to Parma's game.
Absolutely. These are players with flair and creativity. They could change a game in an instant. Wow.
And they blended beautifully with the solid foundation that Scala had built.
It's amazing to think that a club like Parma was able to attract such big names.
It is.
It shows how far they had come in a short space of time.
It's a testament to their ambition, their success, and the allure of playing in Serie A,
Right.
which at the time was the most glamorous league in the world.
And then, of course, there's the Ancelotti era.
Yeah.
With players like Thuram, Crespo, Cannavaro, and Buffon.
Oh, yeah.
It's mind-boggling to think of the talent that Parma assembled.
Ancelotti inherited a fantastic squad.
He did.
And he added his own tactical nuances. He almost won the Scudetto with that team.
Wow.
It's a shame it all ended so abruptly.
It's almost Shakespearean, isn't it? This incredible rise to the top, followed by a tragic downfall.
It is.
And for the fans, the people of Parma who were so invested in this team,
Yeah.
must have been a roller coaster of emotions.
The fans were the ones who truly suffered.
Yeah.
They had witnessed their team achieve the impossible.
They had celebrated victories on the streets of Parma, and then they saw it all crumble before their eyes.
It's hard to imagine the sense of loss, the feeling of betrayal they must have felt.
It was a dark time for Parma.
Yeah,
But even in the midst of despair, the fans never gave up on their club.
that's great.
They continued to support the team even when they were relegated to the 4th division.
Wow.
They knew that Parma Calcio was more than just a football club. It was a symbol of their city, their identity.
That's incredibly powerful. It speaks volumes about the bond between a club and its community.
It does, and ultimately it was the fans who helped Parma rise again.
Yeah,
Their unwavering support gave the club the strength to rebuild,
right.
to find new owners, to climb back up the leagues.
It's an inspiring story of resilience and determination. It shows that even when everything seems lost, hope can endure.
Parma's story is a reminder that football is more than just a game.
Right.
It's about community passion and the power of the human spirit.
We've covered a lot of ground today. We've seen how Parma went from a small-town club to European champions and then back down to the lower leagues.
We have.
It's a story filled with twists and turns, triumphs and tragedies.
It's a story that captures the essence of football. The highs, the lows, the drama, the passion. It's a story that will continue to be told for generations to come.
And to our listener, we leave you with this thought. As you follow your own favorite teams, remember that behind the scores and the standings,
Yeah.
there are human stories that are just as compelling as Parma's.
Right.
Take the time to appreciate those stories, to understand the passion, the dedication, the heartbreak, and the joy that make football the beautiful game.